Have you ever wondered who defines what beauty is and what it's not? Our understanding of beauty, shaped by societal norms, is ever evolving, differing from one culture to another. Yet, these norms often create skewed perceptions, leading us to fear what we label as ugly. This fear isn't just a fleeting thought for some, it's a constant dread. In fact, there's a specific phobia related to this fear of ugliness, known as cacophobia. Cacophobia, a term not commonly known, is the irrational fear of ugliness. This isn't about your everyday dislike for unpleasant sights. We're talking about a deep-rooted, all-consuming terror that can be debilitating for those who experience it. Cacophobia, derived from the Greek words kakos, meaning bad or ugly, and phobos, meaning fear, is a complex psychological condition that goes far beyond the surface. It's not just about finding certain things or people visually unappealing. It's an intense, irrational fear that can trigger severe anxiety and even panic attacks. While it's normal to prefer aesthetically pleasing sights, cacophobia takes this preference to an extreme. It's a fear that can be so overpowering, it disrupts everyday life. Imagine feeling a shiver of dread every time you come across something you perceive as ugly, or even avoiding certain places, people, or situations out of fear they might trigger your phobia. That's the reality for individuals with cacophobia. But where does this fear come from? Like many phobias, cacophobia might stem from deeply rooted insecurities or past traumatic experiences. It could be a reflection of the individual's fear of being perceived as ugly by others, or a manifestation of societal pressures to conform to certain standards of beauty. However, it's important to remember that cacophobia is not about being superficial or overly concerned with appearances. Cacophobia is not about being superficial. It's about a deep-seated fear that can seriously impact a person's life. So, how do we know if someone is suffering from cacophobia? The symptoms of cacophobia are not unlike those found in many other phobias. At the core, it's a fear-based anxiety disorder, and like other phobias, it can manifest in a variety of ways. Someone suffering from cacophobia can experience severe anxiety or discomfort when confronted with what they perceive as ugliness. This could be anything from a distorted image in a funhouse mirror to a piece of abstract art to seeing their own reflection. The fear isn't always rational, and what one person perceives as ugly, another might see as beautiful. One of the most telling symptoms is avoidance behavior. If someone you know is going out of their way to avoid certain places, situations, or even people because they associate them with ugliness, they could be dealing with cacophobia. And then there are the panic attacks. These can be triggered by even just the thought of ugliness, and they are intense. Rapid heartbeat, shortness of breath, excessive sweating. These are all physical manifestations of the fear taking hold. It's important to understand that cacophobia is not about being shallow or overly concerned with aesthetics. It's a deep-seated fear that can cause significant distress and can interfere with a person's daily life. People with cacophobia may go to extreme lengths to avoid perceived ugliness, which can drastically affect their daily life and relationships. To sum it up, cacophobia is more than just a dislike for what's unattractive. It's a deep-seated fear that's rooted in the psyche, a phobia that can have profound effects on an individual's life. It's not about being shallow or judgmental. It's a genuine, often debilitating fear that can lead to anxiety, stress, and even social isolation. Let's quickly revisit what we've learned about cacophobia. It's a psychological condition that manifests in an extreme aversion to what one perceives as ugly. This could be in relation to people, objects, or environments. The fear can be so intense that it triggers physical symptoms like nausea, sweating, or rapid breathing. The severity of these symptoms can vary greatly from person to person, but they all stem from the same root fear. We also discussed how societal beauty standards might contribute to this fear. We live in a world that's constantly bombarding us with images of perfection, creating unrealistic expectations and standards of beauty. This can exacerbate feelings of fear and anxiety in those with cacophobia, making them feel even more isolated and misunderstood. But it's important to remember that cacophobia, like any other phobia, is not a choice. It's a condition that requires understanding, empathy, and support. And that starts with recognition. Recognizing cacophobia as a genuine condition can help remove the stigma associated with it, opening the door for more research, better treatments, and a more compassionate society. Understanding and recognizing cacophobia is the first step towards empathy and support for those who suffer from this often overlooked phobia.